I thought I was fixing a roof. Then the city inspector told me the bakery had 5 days before he shut it down. That was how I met Hannah Brooks. She was standing behind the counter of Brooks Rye with flour on one sleeve, a pencil tucked into her hair, and the expression of someone who had already heard too much bad news that week. The ceiling above the front tables was stained dark from rain. A bucket sat beneath one leak. Another bucket sat beneath a second. Outside, half the shingles on the east side had lifted during the storm. "Can you patch it?" she asked. "I can patch almost anything." Her shoulders loosened. Then I added, "That doesn't mean I should." She stared at me. "You contractors enjoy doing that, don't you?" "Doing what?" "Giving people hope for 3 seconds before taking it back. My name's Luke Bennett. I'm here to tell you what won't fall on your customers. That would be appreciated." I'd spent 18 years repairing houses, barns, restaurants, and mistakes made by men who owned expensive tools and too much confidence. I knew water damage when I saw it, and this bakery had been leaking longer than one storm. I climbed into the attic, wet insulation, rotted boards. Then my flashlight caught a split in one of the rafters near the chimney. There was another beside it. Dark staining traveled down toward the exterior wall. "Hannah?" She climbed halfway up the ladder. "How long has this roof been leaking? This badly?" "Since Saturday." "That wasn't my question." Silence. "Last winter." I closed my eyes. "Why didn't you call anyone?" "I did." "And?" "I got estimates." That answer was familiar. People rarely ignored expensive problems because they didn't care. They ignored them because the numbers frightened them more than the damage. I climbed down. "The roof can be repaired." "Good. But I need to open part of the ceiling." Her expression tightened. "We're open." I noticed. "Can you do it after 4? "What happens at 4? "We close." "You're a bakery that closes at 4. "We open at 5. I looked around. 3 customers were eating near the front window. Someone was boxing cookies behind the counter. A mixer hummed in the kitchen. "How long are you here every day?" Hannah shrugged. "Usually 4:30. "In the morning?" She gave me a tired smile. "Coffee?" That wasn't an answer. It was apparently the bakery version of one. I came back at 4:30 with my tools. By 6, the ceiling was open. By 6:15, I wished it wasn't. The water hadn't only damaged the roof, it had reached part of the wall framing. One section near the chimney showed enough deterioration that I didn't want customers sitting beneath it. Hannah stared upward. "How bad?" "I need an engineer to look at one piece." "That bad?" "Maybe not. But maybe." "Yes." "How much?" "I don't know yet. Give me the frightening number." I gave her a range. She didn't react. Then she walked behind the counter and wiped a surface that was already clean. I knew that move. People need something to do with their hands when the amount they're hearing is larger than the amount they have. The bakery door opened. A man in a city jacket walked inside carrying a clipboard. Hannah's posture changed immediately. "Mr. Harris," he looked at the open ceiling. "You started repairs. We're assessing it." He turned to me. "Contractor? Luke Bennett. Mark Harris, building inspector." That was when I learned Hannah hadn't called me because she'd suddenly decided to fix the roof. The city had already been there. A customer had complained after plaster fell near one of the tables during the storm. Harris had given Hannah 5 business days to prove the unsafe area had been stabilized. If she couldn't, Brooks Rye would close until repairs were complete. I looked at Hannah. "You left that part out. I was going to tell you." "When?" "Before you invoiced me." Harris glanced at his clipboard. "Friday afternoon, Miss Brooks." "I know." After he left, I looked at the calendar. Monday, 5 days. "You can't do this in 5 days, Hannah said. "I haven't said that." "You were about to." "I was about to say I don't know yet." She folded her arms. "That's contractor language for no." "No, contractor language for no is no." For the first time, she laughed, barely. Then her face changed again. "If they close us, we're finished." "Finished for a week?" "No." She looked through the kitchen doorway. "My mother opened this place 32 years ago. We barely survived the pandemic. Then ingredient prices went up. Then the freezer died. Then the storm." She paused. "I have enough cash to pay staff through next Friday." That was the real deadline, not the inspector. Payroll. I'd walked into what looked like a construction problem. It was actually a family business, standing 5 days from the edge. The next morning, my engineer Sam arrived before sunrise. Hannah was already there. Of course she was. The bakery smelled like butter, coffee, and fresh bread. She handed me a mug. Black, no sugar. I looked at her. How do you know? You stared at yesterday's cream like it had insulted your family. Sam inspected the roof framing. By 8:30, he gave us the news. The main beam was sound. 2 rafters needed replacement. The wall near the chimney needed reinforcement. Expensive, messy, but possible. How long? Hannah asked. If everything arrives today, 4 days. Everything won't arrive today. No. So? So, we improvise. That became our arrangement. For the next 4 days, I worked from 4 in the afternoon until after midnight, so Hannah could keep the bakery open. My crew came after their regular jobs. Sam redesigned the reinforcement around materials we could get locally. At first, our conversations were practical. Move that table, cover those trays, kill the power here, don't stand there. Then around 11 each night, the bakery became quiet. That was when Hannah stopped being the woman behind the counter. On Tuesday night, she brought up 2 bowls of soup. You feed everyone who works here? Yes. You know we're charging you. You know that's rude to say while eating free soup. We sat near the back stairs. She told me her mother, Evelyn, started the bakery with 1 oven and 6 recipes. She still works here? 3 mornings a week. How old is she? 71. And she still comes in at 5. 4:45. She likes saying she beat me here. I smiled. What about your husband? Hannah stopped eating. Ex-husband. Sorry, don't be. He's not, she smiled. Divorced 4 years. Then she pointed her spoon at me. My turn. Wife? None. Ex-wife? 1. Kids? 1 daughter. College. How often do you see her? I hesitated. Hannah noticed. What does mean? It means contractors also have places they don't want inspected. She wasn't wrong. My daughter Emily was 20. We spoke. Just not enough. After the divorce, I'd convinced myself. Giving her space was respectful. Eventually, space became habit. Habit became distance. Repairing buildings was easier. Buildings told you where they were broken. People made you guess. Wednesday brought the first real problem. The lumber supplier couldn't deliver the engineered sections until Friday. Too late. I called 4 suppliers. Nothing. Then Hannah appeared holding a piece of paper. My uncle has some. What? He closed his cabinet shop last year. He has laminated beams in storage. What size? She told me. I stared at her. How do you know that? I grew up around people who build things. You could have mentioned that. You didn't ask. Her uncle's beams worked, not perfectly, but Sam approved a revised connection. For the first time, I thought we might make Friday. Then the storm came back. At 3 Thursday morning, rain hammered the temporary covering. My phone rang. Hannah. There's water coming through again. I was in my truck in 6 minutes. When I arrived, she was standing on a ladder trying to move a tarp, in the rain, alone. I got out and yelled, "Get down, I can fix it. No, you can fall." She ignored me. I climbed up, grabbed the tarp, and got us both under the overhang. What are you doing? Saving the bakery, by breaking your neck. I called you, then why didn't you wait? Her face hardened. Because waiting has not worked especially well for me. There was something bigger in that sentence. We secured the covering together. By 4:30, we were soaked through. Hannah sat on an overturned flour bucket in the kitchen while I made terrible coffee. Her hands were shaking. Cold? No. She stared at the floor. My mother used the house as collateral. I stopped. For the bakery? Years ago. So, if this place fails, she could lose the house. That explained the hours, the refusal to close, the way she cleaned already clean counters whenever money came up. Does she know how close things are? No, Hannah, I know. You can't carry all of this without telling her. Watch me. That isn't strength. Her eyes lifted to mine. You don't get to decide what strength looks like for me. She was right. So I stopped talking. Thursday became brutal. We replaced the damaged rafters, reinforced the wall, rebuilt the section near the chimney. At lunchtime, Hannah's mother arrived. Evelyn Brooks was small, silver-haired, and carried herself like someone who had spent 3 decades telling ovens, employees, and life itself what time they were expected to behave. She looked at the open ceiling. Then Hannah. Then me. "You're Luke." "Yes, ma'am." "Hannah says you think you can save the building." Hannah exaggerates. "I do not." Evelyn ignored her. "What do you think?" "I think we can make it safe." "That's not what I asked." I understood where Hannah got it. "I think the bakery can stay open." Evelyn nodded. "Good." Then she walked into the kitchen. Later, Hannah told me her mother had never said she was afraid of losing the bakery. "She doesn't have to," Hannah said. "You inherited that." "What?" "Pretending fear doesn't count if nobody says it aloud." Hannah looked at me. "You've gotten comfortable inspecting things that aren't roofs." "I charge extra." She smiled. Then the smile faded. "My mother thinks I'm keeping this place alive for her." "Aren't you?" "No." She looked toward Evelyn in the kitchen. "I used to think I was. And now I'm terrified of being the person who loses what she built." That stayed with me, because I understood the difference between wanting something and being afraid to let it go. By Friday morning, we had one major job left, the flashing around the chimney. At 10, one of my crew called. His son was sick. He couldn't come. At 11, the metal we'd ordered arrived cut incorrectly. At noon, Harris called. He would be there at 3. Hannah looked at me. "Tell me, we're not done." Her face emptied. Every table in the bakery was occupied. Her mother was frosting cakes. 2 employees were filling orders. Normal life continuing, 3 hours before it might stop. "What do you need?" she asked. I almost said nothing. That would have been my normal answer. Instead, I gave her a list. Clear the rear work area. Call the supplier. Find every piece of sheet metal left from the old repair. Keep everyone away from the chimney wall. Hannah nodded. No argument, no pride, just work. At 1:45, Evelyn appeared beside me holding a small metal box. Inside were old photographs. The bakery during construction, 1989. One showed the original chimney installation. The old flashing had been built in 2 pieces instead of 1. I could reproduce it faster. "Mrs. Brooks, I think you just saved me an hour." She nodded toward the photograph. "My husband built that chimney." "Was he a contractor?" "No, that explains some things." She laughed loud enough for Hannah to hear from the kitchen. At 2:57, Harris walked through the door. I was still on the roof. Sam was in the attic. Hannah stood below, watching us like she could force time to slow down. At 3:12, I climbed down. Harris looked at his watch. "You said 3. I was here at 3. You didn't say I had to be finished at 3. He almost smiled. Then he inspected everything. 25 minutes. Hannah didn't speak once. Finally, Harris closed his clipboard. "The rear ceiling still needs cosmetic repair. The roof needs full replacement within 2 years." Hannah nodded. "But the immediate structural hazards have been corrected." She stared at him. "So?" "You can stay open." For a second, she didn't move. Then Evelyn wrapped both arms around her daughter. Hannah closed her eyes. That was when she finally cried. Only a few silent tears. I looked away. Some moments don't need witnesses. That evening, my crew left. I was packing my tools when Hannah walked over carrying an envelope. "Don't. It's the next payment." "You can pay me next month." "No charity." "It isn't. It sounds suspiciously charitable." I leaned against the workbench. "You have payroll next Friday?" She didn't answer. "Pay me next month." She looked suspicious. "What do you want?" "Coffee." "What?" "Black. No sugar." She stared at me. "That's it?" "No. I also want you to stop climbing ladders in thunderstorms." "That sounds controlling." "Professional advice." She finally put the envelope away. "Coffee I can afford." For the next month, I found reasons to stop by Brooks Rye. Some were real. Check the roof. Look at the ceiling repair. Talk about the replacement. Some were less convincing. Coffee, bread, pie. Hannah never called me on it. Maybe because she was doing the same thing. She started ordering extra lunch on Tuesdays. She called when a cabinet hinge broke, even though she clearly knew how to fix it. Once she drove 20 minutes to my job site because Evelyn had made too much lemon cake. Neither of us mentioned what was happening. We were adults. We recognized it. That didn't mean we had to rush it. One Sunday morning, I arrived before opening. Hannah sat alone at a front table. No apron, no flour, just coffee. You're closed. So observant. I sat across from her. She slid an envelope toward me. This time I didn't argue. Inside was the final payment. Every dollar. We had our best month in almost a year, she said. Because of the roof? No, she smiled. Apparently customers like businesses that almost collapse. Good marketing strategy. I'm thinking of destroying the oven next. Call someone else. She laughed, then grew quiet. My mother knows. About the house? She nodded. I told her everything. How'd she take it? She asked why I thought she'd rather lose me than lose a building. I let that sit. She said, if the bakery ever becomes something I have to survive instead of something I want, we sell it. What do you want? Hannah looked around. I want it. Then she looked at me. But not at any cost. My phone buzzed. A message from Emily. Dinner next Sunday. I'd been the one to ask. Hannah noticed my expression. Good news? My daughter. Everything okay? Yeah. I showed her the message. She said yes. Hannah smiled. You asked? I did. Look at you. Voluntary emotional maintenance. Don't make me regret telling you things. She reached across the table and straightened the coffee cup I'd placed crooked on the saucer. Occupational hazard. Outside, the repaired roof caught the morning light. Inside, the bakery smelled like bread, even though the ovens weren't on yet. I had been hired to repair a building before Friday. I did. But somewhere between broken rafters, midnight soup, a thunderstorm, and an old photograph of a badly built chimney, I had started repairing something else too. Not Hannah. She had never needed saving. Maybe it was the part of me that believed being useful was the same thing as being present. Hannah stood and picked up both coffee cups. You staying for breakfast? I looked at my phone. No emergency calls, no job site waiting, no excuse to leave. Yeah, she smiled. Good. And, for once, I didn't need anything to be broken before I decided to stay.